You have ideas and you have goals. You've maybe even said them out loud, maybe to God, maybe to your friends, or maybe you wrote them down somewhere. You start strong, you bolt out of the gate, excited and you're on fire. And you can see it working, but then it fizzles. You lose steam, you stall out, and you convince yourself that maybe it wasn't the right time after all. And then comes the part that stings. You find yourself thinking, why can't I just follow through on the things I say I want? Ouch, right? Well, the problem isn't that you're lazy or doomed to be inconsistent forever. Definitely not the problem. So let's talk about what's really going on and how to shift it. Welcome to the Confident Christian Woman podcast. This is where we tackle questions about things that have been keeping you stuck in unfulfillment, dissatisfaction, or straight up misery. This is where you'll find the help you need to move forward from confusion, fear, or self-doubt into joy, fulfillment, and peace. This is where we become confident Christian women who not only believe, we also obey. Our question today is, why can't I just follow through on the things I say I want? And this is a struggle that a lot of people live with in secret and in embarrassment or shame. They'll say things like, I just need more discipline, or I need someone to hold me accountable, or I just need to get better at time management. And yes, some structure and support can definitely help, but really this issue is almost never surface level. It almost never starts on the surface, because what we're usually dealing with isn't really a discipline problem. We think it is, but it's really not. It's an identity problem. It's a belief problem, and it's a self-trust problem. And until you get those addressed, no planner, no productivity hack, no morning routine is gonna stick. Like, those things will not work for you. So let's unpack this in a practical way that can help to start freeing you. All right, here's how it usually looks. You have a goal, something that's meaningful to you, right? You're excited, you make a plan, and maybe you even start. But a few days or a few weeks, maybe a few months in, you drop it. You get distracted, or life overshadows it, or doubt creeps in. And instead of adjusting and continuing, you shut down the whole thing, or you just kind of slowly let it wither up and die. And then you label yourself as, I'm just someone who never finishes. I never finish anything. And then you start to lose trust in yourself. You don't know that this is happening, but this is what's happening. You lose trust in yourself because you told yourself that you would finish this time, but you didn't. You told yourself that you'd stick with it this time, but you didn't. And you truly start to believe, like, about yourself, that you just never finish anything, because now you have stacks and stacks of evidence for it, right? So now every single new goal that you set, it carries the weight of all of the old ones that you abandoned, and you carry that label into every new undertaking like a whole backpack full of bricks. And all the time, in the back of your mind, there's a story running that says, yeah, go ahead and start, but you probably won't follow through. Well, here is the truth that you need to hear today. You do not have a follow-through problem. You have a story problem, you have an identity problem, and you have a self-trust problem. You have been telling yourself a story about who you are, and it's shaping what you believe you're capable of. And then there's the myth of willpower. We have been taught that the answer to these kinds of problems is to try harder, to be more disciplined, to just push through. But willpower can only take you so far when your internal identity is sabotaging your effort. Willpower won't take you all the way when your self-image is a problem, all right? If deep down you believe that you're inconsistent, if you expect yourself to give up again, if you secretly don't trust yourself to follow through, then your nervous system is now wired to quit before you fail. So you're not just avoiding the work. You may think that you're just avoiding the work, but you're not just avoiding the work. You're avoiding the pain of disappointing yourself again. Let's ground this in scripture as we always do. Because, God has said something to say about everything. There's no situation you're facing that God cannot help you through and that he doesn't have something to say about. So let's go this time to Philippians 1 verse 6, where Paul writes, "And I am certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is fully finished on the day when Jesus Christ returns." Now, this part that I'm about to call out is critical, so listen please closely. God does not start things that he has no intention of finishing. If he finishes what he starts and you are made in his image, then finishing is in your spiritual DNA. Do you want me to say that again? Because I think that is so critical. If you identify as somebody who never finishes, then it is critical for you to know. So I'm going to say it again. God does not start things that he has no intention of finishing. He finishes what he starts. And if he finishes what he starts and you are made in his image, then finishing is in your spiritual DNA. But you have to stop trying to finish in your own strength. The fruit of the Spirit includes self-control, but that's not willpower. That's partnership with God. And as a born-again believer in Jesus Christ who is baptized in the Holy Spirit, you have the fruit of the Spirit. You have the fruit of the Spirit. You may not be choosing to exercise the fruit that you have, but you have it in you. Okay, so if you are a born-again believer in Jesus Christ, please don't tell anybody that you don't have self-control, because you do. You may choose not to exercise self-control, but you have that fruit in you. You have it. You choose not to use it, but you have it. If you are a born-again believer in Jesus Christ, you have love in you. You may choose not to be loving, but you have love. Okay, it's in you. You're just choosing not to use it. So anyway, let's come back. God finishes what he starts, and he wants to teach you how to do the same thing. Not by striving harder, okay? But by seeing yourself differently. You have to see yourself differently. That's where it begins. Look here for a second. I don't have a problem finishing things, okay? I don't have a problem finishing anything. In fact, once I start something, you can pretty much take it to the bank that I'm going to finish it. I will keep at it until God tells me to stop. The reason why is that I see myself as a finisher. I identify as a finisher. It's part of my self-image, and I live into that self-image. So I will finish what I start. Even when it feels hard, I will finish it. Now, let us say that God gives you and me the exact same assignment. But you quit a little ways in, or a lot of the way in, while I keep going. Well, what's the difference? All things being equal, the only difference is in how we see ourselves. Truly, that's the only difference. I see myself as a finisher, and you see yourself as a quitter. And both of us will live in a way that proves out how we see ourselves. I will live as a finisher, and you will live as a quitter, because that's how I see myself, and that's how you see yourself. And this works in every area of your life. So for example, if you see yourself as a victim, you're going to live into that. And if you see yourself as an overcomer, you're going to live into that. So let's shift the question from why can't I just follow through on the things I say I want to some more useful and deeper questions. Like, what story have I been telling myself about why I always quit? You have a story about that, and it's time for you to tune in and listen to and get a hold of that story. When or where did I learn to expect myself to always fail or quit? That's part of your story. Where have I broken trust with myself by quitting on myself or not keeping my word to myself? And am I ready to repair that trust? Have I been relying on willpower when God actually wants me to rely on and trust in Him? What if follow through isn't about forcing effort, but about realigning my identity? And what version of me do I need to let go of in order to become someone who finishes? Do you see how these questions put a whole different perspective on things? They take the pressure off your discipline and place it where it belongs, on your identity and on your partnership with God. Let me give you an example. About a year and a half ago, so at the beginning of last year, I decided that I wanted to exercise daily, right? Like 6 days a week. I wanted to get into 5 or 6 days a week. I wanted to exercise. I wanted to move my body on purpose, with some, strength and training and so on. Now, I have exercised for, on and off for some portion of my adult life. And I've been good at it. I've stuck it out. As I said, I'm a finisher. But I had stopped. There's no finish line with exercising unless you're going for a specific goal. But I had stopped for probably, a few years. I had not seriously exercised. But at the beginning of last year, I decided that I wanted to start exercising again. And I decided this time I wasn't setting any goal for myself. And I wasn't just going to get up and start exercising and hope I would keep at it. I set an identity goal. I decided who I wanted to be. I decided that I am a woman who is aging powerfully. Okay? I decided that I don't want to age into decrepitude. I don't want to coil up into myself. I don't want to crumble down into nothing as I go further, as I get older. I decided I'm a woman who's aging powerfully, who ages powerfully, okay? Part of that, a woman who ages powerfully exercises. That's part of what she does. She exercises, she does it frequently. She does strength training, she stretches, she keeps herself flexible, and she stays active in different ways. That's what a woman who's aging powerfully, that's an identity, okay? And so I decided that was the identity I wanted to live into. And oh my goodness, here I'm a year and a half later. And there are some mornings when I wake up and like, oh my gosh, I gotta exercise. And I thought, actually, I don't have to. But who am I? Who do I want to be? And it's notice it does say, I don't say, what do I want to do? It's who do I want to be? And I remind myself, I want to be a woman who is aging powerfully. And then I ask myself, what would she do? What would that woman do? That woman would get up and go and exercise, even when it's hard. That's what she does. So that's what I did. That's what I have done, and that's what I still do. All right. So here's your action step for this week. I hope that helped. Here's your action step for this week. I want you to start a finisher file. So this is just a simple list where you write down things that you have finished in the past, moments where you did follow through, and commitments that you did keep, even if they were small. This is you gathering evidence to refute your story about being a quitter or never finishing anything, okay? So it is gonna help you to rewire your brain so you stop labeling yourself as someone who always gives up. By you're giving your brain now some evidence that that is in fact not true. You do actually finish things. Then choose one thing that you want to finish over the next 30 days. Not 10, not 5, just one. It can be as simple as doing the 10-minute walk that you've been saying you want to do twice a week. It's something as simple as that, okay? Whatever it is, ask God to help you to see it not as a task, but as an act of identity building and as a step towards rebuilding trust with yourself. I cannot stress enough how important that is, because in each of the times when you have stopped or given up in the past, you have broken trust with yourself, and now you will need to rebuild that trust, okay? So you are giving yourself you're living into a new identity as someone who finishes or who does what they say they're gonna do, and you're also rebuilding trust with yourself. If you want to go deeper with God on this, you can use these prompts I'm about to give you to open up a conversation with Him about it. All right, so here we go. Lord, where have I been trusting my own willpower instead of trusting you to grow me into someone who follows through? What do you say about my capacity to finish what you've called me to start? What does rebuilding trust with myself look like, one step at a time? And then let God shine a light on the version of you that's white-knuckling it or failing to white-knuckle it, and let Him replace it with a steady, focused finisher. You know, one more thing I want to add before we land the plane. That example of me exercising, right? So I also have an identity. Part of my identity is as a good steward. I believe that I am a good steward of the resources that God gives to me. And something I realized recently in the last few months is that one of the resources that God has given me is my body. That's a resource that He has entrusted to me. He trusted this body to me, okay, to take me through this life. And because I see myself as a good steward, that's part of my identity, then my identity that living into that identity means that I steward this resource well. So me exercising is not just me living into the identity of a woman who is aging powerfully, but also me living into my identity as a good steward. Do you see what I mean? All right, so let's land the plane now. Stop defeating yourself before you even start. Stop telling yourself that you're a quitter or that you're flaky. You are not stuck with the identity of somebody who always gives up. You're not stuck with any identity. That story may have been true in past seasons, but it really does not have to define you going forward. It's your choice. God finishes what He starts. And as you partner with Him, as you stop trying to hustle or white knuckle your way into consistency or into finishing, you'll start to see who you're capable of becoming. And that is somebody who is rebuilding trust with themselves and who finishes what they start. And finishes what matters. Because sometimes you can stop doing some things that don't matter, okay? But you finish what matters. You don't need to be hyper-disciplined to finally walk out the vision that God gave you, right? You don't need to be hyper-disciplined to finally do the thing that you say you want. You've been saying that you want to do. Instead, you need to partner with God, who never quits, never gives up, and start learning to see yourself through His eyes, not through your old failures. If today's episode stirred something in you, whether it was hope, clarity, or even a little nudge from God, don't forget to download the Clarity Roadmap. It's a free guide designed to give you a quick jump start out of feeling stuck. You can print it, pray through it, or use it as a journaling companion. Remember, you don't have to have all the answers. You only need your one next step. And this free roadmap is a great place to start. To get it, all you need to do is click the link in the show notes. And also, please rate and review the show so that other women can find this podcast too. Thank you.